Hello and welcome to High on Sports Overtime, first one of the new year. And thank you so much for joining us again. This is our little post-show YouTube special segment where we talk about things we didn't get to on the show. We went a little long on some stuff on the show, so there's one big thing we didn't get to, so we'll get to that in just a second. But I want to remind you guys, this right here, highonsportsradioshow.com. You can go here to find the archive of any past episode of High on Sports, and you can go there and download any one of them for free. And, of course, we've got my rants that I write every now and then, and it tells you how it's from your smartphone. And you can sign up to be part of our email list and everything. It's just so fantastic. And remember, Facebook, High on Sports Radio, and Twitter, High_on_sports. That's all the ways to get a hold of us. So now let's get to this. Von Erich, I feel so bad for you.
Why do you feel bad for me?
That we didn't get to talk about this on the show.
You should feel bad about yourself. And your
we'll,
performance.
Talk about that. Von Erich is, of course, the two-time High on Sports Fantasy Football League champion. The only thing that gets me this time, and why I think you cheated, let me explain, please.
Why I cheated? Because all my guys got injured? Is that why I cheated?
Let me explain, alright? Last year, you took Vic late. As a joke, basically. Because you're like, screw it. I don't care. It's a late pick. I'll take Michael Vick. Whatever. And then Michael Vick comes in week 1 and immediately becomes a franchise quarterback in Philadelphia. So then, he goes on to be the highest scoring fantasy player last year in most leagues' records. And that perfectly explained why you won.
Yes.
This year, you had a pretty damn good team to start the year. And you lost. How many people did you lose?
Jamal Charles.
Jamal Charles, you lost.
Kenny
Britt the next week. Right after Jamal Charles.
There was quite a few. It seemed like almost a bi-weekly thing that I had to keep dropping my starters because they were injured and picking up guys off waivers.
Now, it's kind of interesting, speaking of injuries. The playoff matchups are 2 weeks long. The first week, which would be last weekend, which is games were played mostly on Christmas Eve. There was a Christmas Day game, too. But anyways, your opponent, fan of the show, Chris, Romo ended up being out in that game. And because of that, he lost his first 4 draft picks for that week. So everyone that he was starting was either a free agent or drafted after round 5. So he really got screwed. I'm not to cheapen your victory at all, because that's part of the game, is being able to prepare for injuries and everything. And unfortunately, for my game, I had Phillip Rivers most of the year, quarterback. And then I managed to land Tim Tebow, who was huge and winning me games left and right. And then reality struck. And the carriage turned back into a pumpkin. And Tebow kind of screwed me over. I ended up losing the Consolation Bowl, as I call it, battle. Actually, my brother, John, was my opponent in the Consolation Bowl, and I lost to him. So he finishes in 3rd place, and I finish in 4th as the worst team in the playoffs. And, of course, you beat fan of the show, Chris, to get the win. And last place, I'm just going to really go over where we landed. Last place is Invisible Nick. Bottom of the barrel.
Should that have just been expected?
He had a really crappy season because every time, he basically had the personnel to win every game. Pretty much every game this season. It was like afterwards he'd look at his bench and it would add up that he would have won if he had played the right people. Like his quarterback, Mark Sanchez, Ben Roethlisberger, kept flip-flopping on the 2. Every time he started Sanchez, he should have started Roethlisberger, and then the other way around. And it just totally got screwed there. And then second to last is the Cleveland Steamers. And then just above them we have your Painesville Shankers.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about this year.
That makes you, what, 10th place, I think? That sounds about right.
No, I thought we only had 10 teams, so I wasn't being 7.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
You finished the year at 7th. 8th is the Hamburglers. It's gonna make team number 6 will be maybe next year, and team number 6. My mistake, is Joe Dirt from UNN. His Little Jimmies finished in 6th place. 5th is maybe next year. I'm 4th. Preacher with the Black Macaroons is 3rd. French Toast Mafia is 2nd, and of course your Handicap Connection are number 1. Unfortunately, I forgot to touch base with you, but we talked about this earlier. I was hoping you could have brought the trophy in from last year, so I could re-gift it to you on the show and claim it's a new trophy.
I will be having
But
none
you
of
did not
that.
stand for that.
I will not stand for that. I demand a new trophy as the 2-time reigning High on Sports fantasy champion. I demand a new trophy with my team name on it this time because every year I have by far the most creative name out of anyone in our league. Last year it was a 20-team league. I won that hands down. This year I won again. And not only did I win the name game, I won the whole game. And I want my damn trophy.
That's true. Back-to-back champion. I still don't believe it. When you lost Kenny Britt and it was your second star player down in a row, I thought season's over, and it wasn't. And of course,
none of that.
you went to the playoffs as the number 1 seed with the most wins. Did you get to 10 wins, or were you a 9-win team?
After the championship, I think I might have been 10.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird with the playoffs going 2
Mhm.
weeks, so I technically played less games than some of the other teams, but
I believe you had 9 wins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
before the championship, I was 9-4.
Yeah. So you finished 9-4. I was 8-5. So I'm right there with you. I was the number 2 seed as winner of the Legends division, and you won the Leaders division. I've given it much consideration. We are not going to call our divisions that
Thank you.
next year. This was a trial run
Because
for
I
both
vetoed
ourselves
that.
and the Big Ten.
Would you like me to pick the names?
We'll talk about it.
Okay. That could be potentially one of my prizes.
And real
I
quick,
haven't named them all yet.
one last thing for fantasy is, I was gonna over the holiday break start a fantasy basketball team, and I was thinking about it, and it just got to a point where I was looking in there and I'm getting all set up to draft and everything, and I was like, you know what, this is stupid. So I turned it down. So I've officially decided High on Sports will only be competing in fantasy football and fantasy baseball. No basketball, and unfortunately no fantasy hockey. Fantasy NASCAR, we'll see. But
Possibly.
no. Who knows? Maybe fantasy lacrosse. We'll see if we can get
Okay.
something started with that. All right. Well, next week, hopefully next week on the show, I'll have your trophy. I'm officially giving you right now. I owe you 1 trophy with your name on it, and your final. We'll put the
Awesome.
final score of the game too. Maybe
Nice.
I'll engrave it. It'll be a solid gold trophy like the last one.
It
Remember
was
that
a nice
solid-
trophy.
Solid gold.
It's still solid.
It was a solid gold Dixie cup glued to a solid gold wooden candlestick.
It's sitting on my mantelpiece. It's still solid. I haven't gotten it wet, so
That's good.
Still good.
Because gold runs right off stuff. Solid gold, that is. Anyways. All right, well, that's going to do it for High on Sports Overtime. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, you can find tonight's show on YouTube as well. And remember, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just search High on Sports, but odds are you already know where it is because you're watching this. And remember, find us on Facebook, High on Sports Radio, and High on Sports first name, Radio Show last name is our profile page. And find us on Twitter, High_on_sports, and find me on Twitter, eRalphieW, and at Von Erich, at AshleyBrum13.
Yep.
She has not tweeted yet.
Nope.
Next week, I think next week she's gonna make her first tweet,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be a big
Maybe.
triumphant event. We'll
We'll tape it and everything.
exactly. We'll tape it and throw it up on the YouTube of her making her first tweet next week.
get her tons of
So,
subscribers.
so you're going to want to check that out. And again, remember, high-on-sports-radio-show.com to get to the archive and my rants and all that other great stuff. So remember, tune in next Monday night at 7 p.m. on morningshowcentral.com.